Hi there, my name's Miss Fisher, and if you're seeing this video, that means you are substituting for me today. Most likely, if you're substituting for me today, that means it was an unplanned absence. Um, so I have two different conditions. I have a migraine condition and a kidney stone condition, as you can see. I just got out of the hospital. I've been in the hospital with kidney stones. Um, so if you are in for me, it's an unplanned absence. So I want to make sure I recorded a video for you so you knew what to do in my absence. In my absence, you can continue on with my lesson plans as planned. I have planned out the entire school year. I have a syllabus rubric of what plan is to be taught every single day. I also have all the lesson plans up on my Canvas page for my students. I have videos of me teaching those lesson plans, so the students just have to put in their little earbuds or put on their headphones to listen to me teaching and then complete the activity afterwards. Um, I also have some translations for my second language learners. So there really is no reason to pause and not continue on with the work. Everything is already laid out for you and for my kiddos. My kiddos should be extremely familiar with the format by the time I'm absent for the first time. Um, so please let my students take the lead. I also should have an aide in the classroom, but when you do arrive, just ask one of my students to let you view this video so you have a better idea of how the class really runs. Um, I'm going to walk you through my Canvas page just so you can see, but basically I have three different groups. I have a green group, a blue group, and a yellow group. All the groups are meant for differentiation purposes. I put my students on different levels. So if you see when you're walking through up and down the aisles that the students aren't necessarily working on the same math material, that's just because I differentiate it for them. So that is quite fine. So let me just walk you through so you have an idea of what I'm talking about. Um, Sorry, I am up in my attic. I have three young children downstairs, so my Wi-Fi is a little bit slower up here. So this is my home page, and if you want to click on Get Started, that will help you. So when you click on Get Started, as soon as my Wi-Fi works, you want to scroll to the bottom wherever you're at, because each day each week I will also post, because it will link them directly to the lesson where they don't have to think. And so you'll see it'll take them right to it. So I really do want to still post there for my kiddos. As you can see, it took them right to the lesson. But I also wanted to provide a general matrix for my students and parents, and also for my substitute. So when they come in, they can just look up whatever week it is. It'll show the week and it'll show the date. So you just have to look at the date. Then you see I have three groups, like I just said, for differentiation purposes. So you would look and you would know whoever's in my green group would be in Unit 5. So pretend you're in week of 921. I have a kidney stone and I have to leave school immediately and go in the hospital. Just so you know, almost 90% of my kidney stones are too large to pass and I need an operation, which is what happened with this last one. So I think I've only ever passed one of my kidney stones. All of the other ones I need an operation for. Um, so as you can see, the green group, you would just say, you would tell them to go on Canvas, but in the event, any of my kiddos forget, or I have a new kiddo in my class, which could be a possibility, you would just say, okay, if you're in the green group, you're in Unit 5, lesson 2 and lesson 3 part 1 is what you're doing. Blue book, Unit 2, lesson 4, yellow group, Unit 2, lesson 1, multiplication and division only. Okay. And I will show you what that looks like. This is planned out. I did the entire school year over the summer. So it shows up to marking period 1, all of marking period 2, marking period 3, all the way up to finals you see at the bottom. It shows them when they have their assessments over on your right-hand side. So if they ask if I'm out, does that mean I still have the assessment that was scheduled Thursday? It does mean that. I will make a determination when I come back in. However, sometimes if there's a sub in, if they had questions that I couldn't answer in person, obviously I will postpone the assessment. But for you, just say yes, and I will make that determination when I come back. Okay. So this is what you want to reference the matrix, so you know exactly what to tell the kiddos to do. Then after you reference my matrix, you're going to want to come over to this left-hand side of the screen and go to modules. Okay, so now when you go to the modules, it will take you exactly to, I'm just going to try to close out some of these. If the kids say they forget what group they're in, which I know they will not forget what group they're in, green, blue, or whatnot, these are their initials. I will always have a subfolder on my desk with attendance and seat and charts. So you just have to look up their initials and you'll be able to see what group they're supposed to be in. I'll also have in that folder the groups, and each of my kiddos what groups they're in. So you don't have to worry about that. But that's what this is. This is just my kiddos' initials and what groups they're in. Okay, so this is how my modules is set up. So as you can see, it's broken down by green group. This is all of their units. Then my blue group, this is all of their units. And then my yellow group, this is all of their units. So if it said, I think green group was unit 5, you would simply just go up here, you would click on unit 5. See, it's even broken down by the mark and period, so they know exactly how much work and what work they're doing each mark and period. So anyways, we go back to green group unit 5, and we click on that. And if it said lesson 1, then that means everything under lesson 1 is what they're supposed to do. So you can see right here, it says Miss Fisher's teaching that lesson. They would first watch me teach in the lesson. So they would click on it. So you don't have to teach. Miss Fisher's teaching. I like green book students. So that, as you can see, that's going to be me teaching the actual lesson. So they'll go through a short video where I explain what's going on in that lesson. Then there's another tutorial of someone else, so another further explanation. Then here is my PowerPoint, so this would be notes physically showing them. So they would go through my PowerPoint notes. In my PowerPoint notes, there's always 3 sections. There's a teacher model, so that's where I teach, and they will have the actual the notes, the physical problems that I work through. Then there's a guided lesson. So if I was there in class, we would work through those problems together as a class. And then they have that independent practice. When we get down to the independent practice, that would be something that's located on Canvas. It's directly linked to Canvas. So they don't even have to worry about that either. They'll see a link right in the PowerPoint. It says independent practice. It'll be the last slide. They go right to the link and it will take them to the independent practice in Canvas. In the event something goes wrong with that link, as you can see, we go right back. And again, sorry, my Wi-Fi in my attic is dreadful. You will see this is the classwork. So the classwork is the same thing that goes right to, that's the link. So right underneath the PowerPoint, it's all in sequential order. So they look at the notes, they read through the notes, they look at Miss Fisher on a whiteboard working through the problems, and then they will come onto Canvas and they will independently work through their own problems and submit it. Okay. And then at home, Ms. Fisher can look at those problems and see, what didn't they quite grasp? Where did we go wrong? I can provide feedback, and then I know the next day what I need to reteach. Okay. I do have quite a few ESL learners as well. So you will see Spanish versions of lessons. That's just where I translated my lessons into Spanish for them, for my kiddos, to try to help. Where is it? There it is. Just if English is their second language. So you'll see they can access the same language, it's just translated into Spanish, okay? And I also have video link tutorials also in Spanish for my kiddos, and they should be familiar with it. I will explain this to them all the first week of school. But if we go back to my home page, I also have Khan Academy. So you want to go to about the course. So you're going to go to about the course, and this will give a lot more also information for my kiddos. So that's where you find the Dear Substitute note with all of this information. This will be where this video is. And the Spanish translation, second language, that will be a whole video on how they get to it. And it will be through Khan Academy. Okay. So that should be okay for them as well. And this, if they hit the daily agenda, that will take you right to that calendar I was talking about that shows what they should be doing each day as well. So you can hit that. So you know what lessons to tell them to work on. And again, the kids should be familiar with this and really should be a little bit of independent and can self-advocate for themselves. But in the event you see some students struggling, you can guide them through this. We have iReady and Trans Math. This is a Trans Math book that I utilize. However, in all my PowerPoints, I copied and pasted the Trans Math chapters into my PowerPoint, so they don't have to physically go into that Trans Math book if they don't want to. And iReady is another computer program we utilize. These are just the links that take my kiddos right to it, so they don't have to type in a web address and get confused. So that's the other thing. All right, and this just explains that we have 3 different groups and that they'll be working on different math material, just so there's no confusion, okay? Last but not least, if you want to, I'm sure you want to, but so when you're in class, if the students raise their hand and have a question, I also have these binders. There will be a green, they're pretty thick binders. They will be behind my desk. I have a green one, a yellow one, and a blue one, obviously for the different books. And in there will be answer keys to my worksheets and everything. So when you assist the students, if they have a question, you have access to the answer keys. I also have answer keys on my Canvas for my students to look at, where it breaks down the step-by-step process if they get confused. My only other thing that I ask of you is in class, obviously, we do practice social distancing. So I do have a seating chart, and I really would like the students to sit in their assigned seats. Just to be safe and to make sure we aren't spreading germs if it's unnecessary. And then I know this is going to sound a little bit weird, but I also really the students will know my teacher desk I really do need to keep clean. So I went out and bought my kiddos everything. So you'll see everything says work out in your math notebook. So this school year, we're not really doing photocopies just because of the virus and the spread of the virus. So everything the students will be writing down this school year. So they'll see the problems on Canvas, and they just have to write down the problem and complete them in their little math notebooks. They all have a little cubby. I bought this thing where it's blue, green, and yellow. They'll all have the name on their cubby. I bought them all their own notebook. If they're in the blue group, they'll have a blue notebook. If they're in the green group, they'll have a green notebook. And if they're in the yellow group, they'll have a yellow notebook. So they'll just write down the problems they see on Canvas and solve the problems in their notebook, besides the classwork that's on Canvas that they submit and I can access from home. But everything will be without a worksheet. So you won't see any paper copies of anything. Um, so there is no need for any students to come up to the teacher desk, and I really do need to make sure that still happens in my absence, just because I have a child at home that's immunodeficient. So I will be someone who's scrubbing everything every day. The students will be aware that, Miss Fisher bought them everything, one of their own of everything. So we really do need to keep that one area super duper, just just non-student at the teacher's desk. So even if they say they need to borrow something, they don't, because everything's in their little cubby hole. So I even went to as far as to buy all of my students their own calculators. So in their cubby hole, they'll have their own calculators. So they don't need to go through Miss Fisher's desk and look for a calculator. Everything they need is in their cubby hole. So please, please, please make sure, we keep that desk really clean. Just because, like I said, my son has a condition, and he's immunodeficient. So I really just want to make sure that I keep everything really clean as possible, just to make sure I don't bring anything home to him. Um, with that said, the only thing is the one rule I really enforce, just to make sure my students get work done, they retain the material, and they're learning while they're in class, is in the beginning of the class period, the students know daily routine. They go right to their cubby hole and they get all their materials. There's a warm up right away in the PowerPoint. They know they're supposed to start right away on their warm up. But when they go and get their class materials out of their cubby hole, they're also supposed to place their cell phones in their cubby hole. There is no need for a cell phone because I bought all of them a calculator. So they won't need to use their cell phone for a calculator. So please just make sure that their cell phones do go in their cubby hole so that they can be more efficient when you are in class. Um, Other than that, I hope I'm not missing anything. Um, but I know you will have a wonderful day. I hope I didn't miss any important things to tell you. Oh, they all have their own. I bought them a dry erase board and dry erase markers if they want to work things out. So they really do have, and it is theirs, so they can access everything in their cubby hole. They know every day they go right up to it and get all of their stuff. And they put their cell phone in. So again, if you have any questions, concerns, please just access any of my colleagues. They're super duper friendly and will help you with anything. Quakertown has excellent students. They're phenomenal. I love the kiddos. I'm sure you will have a wonderful school day. You can leave me any notes on my desk. If something was really confusing, just leave me a note and say, Miss Fisher, next time you might want to try this. And I am always up for suggestions. I hope you have a wonderful day and enjoy time with my kiddos. Bye now.